It took weeks for people to finally help this dog, and when they looked closer, they were horrified. When this little dog found himself abandoned on the streets of Peru, it was like he was invisible. For weeks, people passed him by without so much as a second glance. But when someone finally decided to take a closer look, they were horrified by what they found. Life had been hard on little Cabezoncito. It's believed his owner had abandoned him, leaving him tied up at a metro station in the city of Lima, Peru. And the reason why is completely heartbreaking. Cabezoncito had sustained injuries to his back legs, and this is believed to have been the reason why his owner had decided to ditch him. They tied him up outside the busy station and left him strapped to a wooden board with wheels attached. Unfortunately, street dogs are a familiar sight in Peru and in the majority of South America. Here, people don't really see dogs as domestic animals. In fact, if a family owns an animal, they usually have a practical purpose like protecting the home or chasing off pests. And so when a dog becomes older or injured, they're no longer of purpose. Consequently, families will often just abandon them. In addition, many communities in Peru live in poverty, meaning some families simply can't afford to keep a dog simply as a pet. Furthermore, Peruvians are reluctant to adopt strays, and this further contributes to the prevalence of street dogs. They worry that these animals carry diseases which could be dangerous to humans. Thus, the country's street dog problem just keeps growing and growing. And as for the animals themselves, they remain largely ignored, left to fend for themselves. However, with that said, there are some people who are trying to change things for the street animals of Peru. Milagros Perunos, for example, is a small shelter that takes in disabled dogs, and it was this organization that first took Cabezoncito under its wing. That was 4 years ago, because when a group of youngsters found Cabezoncito outside the metro station, they untied him and set him free. They gave him some food before continuing, believing the little dog could fend for himself from there. But when they came back to the same location just 2 weeks later, they discovered someone had tied Cabezoncito up yet again. And although the street was busy, the animal seemed to be invisible to people walking past. Furthermore, by now the dog didn't look very well at all. As a result, the group decided to take Cabezoncito's fate into their own hands. That's when they took him to Sarah Moran, the founder of Milagros Perunos. Moran cares for street animals in her own home, often housing her furry patients in baby cribs while she nurses them better. But as she noted Cabezoncito's injuries, Moran decided to take the dog to the vet immediately instead. And although she had her fingers crossed, she didn't get positive news. Veterinary staff warned her that there was a real possibility that the dog could die. And even if he did survive, he'd probably end up paralyzed. He had renal insufficiency and his spine was badly injured, Moran told the Dodo in May of 2017. He also had many wounds and scabs, and he couldn't even walk because he was tied to a table, and he'd urinated and pooped in the same place, which caused his genitals to split. At this point, many people in Peru would have chosen to euthanize Cabezoncito. However, Moran wasn't just any person. Instead, she decided to give the dog a fighting chance. And so, using what little money she had, Moran funded the dog's surgery and kidney treatments. Once Cabezoncito had recovered from his operation, Moran was keen to give him back his freedom. So she bought him his very own doggy wheelchair, and now he can run around like any other dog. Cabezoncito is still on medication for his kidney troubles, and he also has to wear special diapers and eat specific foods. It's also likely that he'll never regain use of his hind legs. However, for the first time and perhaps forever, Cabezoncito is living his life to the full. Now the little dog loves nothing more than socializing with his four-legged friends, and at the shelter he has plenty of doggy playmates to choose from. Aside from Cabezoncito, Moran cares for another 60 dogs, many of them with disabilities themselves. But many of these animals will find a great inspiration in Cabezoncito. He loves putting his wheels to good use at the beach and in Moran's yard. Moreover, he even took part in a marathon. Cabezoncito is a great warrior, Moran told the Dodo. In spite of everything he suffered, he's very loving and sociable with people. Cabezoncito gives us a great lesson of love and courage for life. Courage for life. In fact, thanks to Cabezoncito's fighting spirit, he's become something of an icon for Milagros Perrunos and the fantastic work they do. His image even adorns the sanctuary's logo on Facebook, and as a result, more than 550 people have liked the emblem. With his newfound celebrity status, Cabezoncito is often the main attraction at Milagros Perrunos community events. Here, members of the public get to pet and interact with these friendly street dogs. In this way, Moran hopes to change Peru's perception of strays, one stroke at a time.